The Bride 2026.
The Bride will probably go down as a movie that flies under the radar for a lot of people this year. And it's not because it's not a good movie, it's because the movie isn't the same mindless dribble that Hollywood keeps trying to push out over and over again. We actually have depth in this movie, layers and meaning, and things that keep you pushing and thinking about what's happening as long as you're paying attention to the movie. It's set in the 1930s, but it has many ties to today's modern era. The movie opens up to our main character, Ida, sitting at a table with a group of mobsters forcing Ida to do as they please. But something starts to happen. Ida begins channeling a spirit, a recurring problem in the movie, who just so happens to be none other than Mary Shelley, the woman who originally wrote Frankenstein back in 1818. Shelley speaks to Ida and says, "My story is not done. Ida is not your name, but it is what I will call you for now." The men get confused as the spirit of Shelley starts speaking up about how mobsters kill and abuse women in front of a local major restaurant. Thus, Ida is killed. We next see Frankenstein, who approaches a doctor asking for a bride. Frank has sought her out as we discover she has written hugely about revigoration and basically doing the same experiments that brought Frank back to life. He pleads to her and tells her that he's been all alone ever since he was reanimated over 100 years ago. He has no one to talk to, all because of his obvious state, since he's a bunch of limbs and body parts that were just stapled and hammered back together. The doctor agrees with his wishes and Ida is reanimated. The crystal fluid that the doctor uses though is vomited when the bride gets reanimated, so it stains her skin, and that's why we see all these like black tattoos across her entire body and face. She has no memory of her former self, and they begin their new life together as she becomes the bride. The thing about this movie is that this movie is a genuine victim horror movie, all about Ida. It's portrayed as a love story, but in all actuality, it's a curse horror movie. In the very start of the movie, we see her being used as a woman for her body by the mobsters, like all the other girls who got murdered before her. Then we see her being used by Frank so he can have a bride, and at the same time she's being used by the doctor who reanimated her because she purely just wanted a new body to study. Throughout the movie, of course, we visit the topic of how women were treated in the 1930s, and even get a recall to a couple years ago when Ida starts yelling, "Me too, me too." Obviously a recall to the hashtag Me Too movement. Ida even started a movement in the movie where the women rebelled against the system because of how the men were treating women. Now, of course, in the end, despite all of their problems, Ida and Frank end up together, just as Shelley wanted the entire time. That's the problem. Ida never got to choose who she wanted to be. She was used as Ida, as the hooker for the mob. She was used as Penelope, the name that Frank gave her after she was reanimated and she forgot all of her memories. He lied to her and told her that we'd always been together. You came back to life so that we could be together again. And in the end, she believes that she chose to be with Frank. When Frank starts pleading with her after she figures out about who she was in a past life, she says, "No, I'm not Ida. I'm not Penelope. I'm not Pretty Penny. I get to choose now. I'm the bride." But again, she never chose that. As she says, "Yes, I'm the bride," Mary speaks up in a spiritual voice and says, "Yes, now you understand. You're the bride." Penny never got to choose her life. Throughout the entire movie, she was cursed from the very start by the spirit of Mary Shelley, just a character in a story. She never chose anything. Her life was set for her at the very start when the spirit of Mary Shelley for some reason came back to life. Ida never got a choice. She was just a character for Mary Shelley.